Hi, welcome back. You know, winter's finally here. It's the third week in January. You know, the bite's been a little bit up and down based on the weather. You know, we've had some really warm days, but we've had some big time cold fronts as of recent times. What we've been doing is, you know, you really got to hunker down in the shelters because it is so cold. But we just move the shelters along, fish a spot for 15, 20 minutes, and then just keep moving on down the line till you catch fish. Come on in. You know, you'd think I'd be used to it by now. The third week in January, usually we've had 2-3 of these major cold fronts, but because it's so warm, I'm still not acclimated, and especially with the wind today. We've got, you know, close to 20 below zero wind temps, and like I said, these fronts have really affected the fish. You know, we're having days where we're catching tons and tons of perch, plus some walleyes, and then backed up by the very next day where we struggle a little bit. I'll show you how I kind of combat some of these struggling times, and regardless of the temperature, we always stay on the move, and that's a key thing, especially when you get these big cold fronts, is just staying on the move. There we go. Not a bad jumbo. You know what I've been doing to kind of combat this doldrums, especially during the day on these cold front days, is I've simply just put a dead stick down and then I'm jigging with another spoon. We've been getting a lot of jumbo perch during the day still. Mornings and evenings, setting up more geared towards walleyes. You know, certainly we've had some days this week where we're catching walleyes all day long, but more so on these really, really cold days, I've just been targeting the perch during the day. Like I said, with the dead stick down and then a jigging spoon on the other rod, trying to get those Christmas trees or those schools to come in. And then more towards evening, afternoon, just setting up in those high percentage walleye areas on a steep break, on a drop off, or even on the edge of some of these gravel bars. Get back down here, there's another one on the screen. I like to jig really aggressive to get them to come in. See how I get real aggressive and then I'll go back to a slight little bounce. Just trying to get them interested in that spoon. There he is. Just like that. Real aggressive to get the fish to come in and then just go to that real slight bounce. Even just barely moving it. Oh, not a bad perch, not a monster, but decent size. And a lot of times too, even if they won't strike the dead stick right away, it helps keep that school or that Christmas tree around for a little bit so you can get your bait back down there. It's real important to keep that school interested and in the area. Look at this. Getting them 4 to 5 feet off the bottom. Here they come. There he is. Once again, just jigging extremely aggressive, especially on a blank screen, and then just bringing them up 4 or 5 feet off the bottom. Keeps that school interested so you can get back down there. And that's the thing, is you're just trying to create, you know, some momentum, or if you get 2-3 fish on the screen, especially to get super competitive when you get multiple fish on the screen. So the higher you can get them in the water column, they're going to commit to that bait. And a lot of times I'll set up for 15-20 minutes. If I'm not seeing fish, I just simply move on. There we go. There we go. Hit it on the dead stick. That's why it's so beneficial, even on these slower days, to jig but have that dead stick down. That's a nice fish. We better get her back down the hole, right in the mouth there. Using either fatheads or shiners. You know, keep them a foot and a half off the bottom, and then we've been just jigging in high to try to get other fish to come in. Man, just buried that hook. Jig high in the water column. Make sure you put the dead sticks down. That, coupled with the fact if you stay on the move, even on these bitter cold days, it's definitely going to help put more fish on the ice. Lastly, some of the resorts are allowing vehicle traffic. Make sure you're staying on the planned routes. You just can't travel anywhere you want. We've still got some real bad ice areas that will not hold a vehicle, will not even hold a four-wheeler. As early as this week, we had some open water in areas. So use extreme caution. If you're getting off the beaten path, make sure you're drilling holes, because even with some of this snow cover, a lot of the ice looks the same and you're not going to be able to tell. Next week, it looks like a little more of a warm-up. You know, even with that warm-up, it's not going to improve this ice conditions, so Play it safe. Until next week, I'm Tony Roach, and we'll see you on the ice.